Let's continue our journey while building the subnet where you are going to host a virtual machine and from where we are going to do rest of the testing. So I will log into the portal and create a subnet and the virtual machine. Since we had created a new subnet which was firewall VNet, you need to choose your subnet, whatever the name you have given. Under that you can go to subnets and from here you can create a new subnet, and in this case I want to name it SRV subnet 1, and the range which I'm going to take is going to be 2, and I will leave the rest of the things as it is as of now. Now we have one subnet created, and now you need to go to the virtual machine and you need to create a virtual machine. It can be Linux or Windows. In my case, I'm going to choose a virtual machine which is going to be based on the Windows. So I'm going to pause the video and let me complete this virtual machine deployment. Now you can see my virtual machine is ready and I'm logging to this machine in RDP session from the IP address 4.227.177.41. So this is the public IP which get assigned to the virtual machine so that you can access it from the internet. Let's verify the rest of things. If I do an NS lookup, this is going to be your default DNS IP address provided by Azure. And when I see the output of ipconfig, the IP address get assigned to this is the first IP address from the subnet, and the default gateway is 10.10.2.1. That means this default gateway, it exists on the virtual infrastructure, a virtual switch on the hypervisor layer. Now I'm able to access the internet and all those things, it works. What you need to see, if you want to use the firewall services, then this default gateway, it should be redirecting all your traffic to firewall. That means you need to add a UDR to this subnet. So let's add a UDR and see what changes. And before we add the UDR, let's capture the public IP address you get while you access the internet. So we'll open the browser, and in the browser, basically we can go for what is my IP.com kind of websites. So it's going to be the same IP address, 4.227.177.41, and this is the same IP address you can see here on the top when you do the RDP session. Now when we change the default routes towards the firewall while adding the UDR, we will verify what gets changed. For adding the UDR, go to the route tables, and from here you can create UDRs. So hit this resource group, I'll go for the same one, and the name for this UDR, I will say UDR firewall. Create, shouldn't take much time. Once this is created, you need to associate this to the particular subnet you want to route traffic from to the firewall. So this is done. You can go to this UDR, and from here I can go to the associate, and in this case it was firewall, and the subnet was this one only. So we will hit OK, and we need to put the route entry. So let's add one route entry, UDR firewall route. Destination type is going to be this one. Since this is the default route, I will put this. Next stop is going to be the virtual appliance. And in our case, the IP which get assigned to firewall, the private IP address basically is going to be the first IP address from the subnet. So the subnet we had chosen is 10.10.0.0. So this is going to be 10.10.1.4. Let's add it. And we are done here. The moment you are going to associate a default route to the subnet, this is the magic going to happen with you. You will lose the connectivity to your remote desktop, and the reason behind now you are redirecting your default route or all the traffic to the firewall, and by default, firewall is not going to allow anything. So let's try to test our first use case, which is going to be the DNAT. Let's try to add the DNAT rule now. So you need to go to your firewall, and in this case, the firewall is going to be firewall test. Under that, go to the rules classic, and you can see the entries for the NAT rule, network rule, and application. And we wanted to add the NAT rule, so let's just click on that. I want to give it a name DNAT, and this is going to be RDP. Protocol is going to be TCP. The source is going to be IP. Strike, it means all the IPs, and destination is going to be your public IP address, which is basically assigned to your firewall. And then you need to put the port number, and for RDP it is going to be 3389. Your translated address is going to be the private IP address assigned to this virtual machine, and this is again also going to be 3389. So let's try to add this rule. You need to give it number. I will give it number 100, and let's try to add it again. The status is updating firewall. It means the rule creation is in progress. Let's give it a couple of seconds. Shouldn't take a very long time. Let's refresh it. And now we see there is one rule which exists. What it mean? Now we are going to do the RDP to the IP address which is assigned to the firewall, and it should give us the RDP access for the machine. So let's try that. Now you can see we are logging to this VM with the IP address 20.246.199.83, and this is a public IP of the firewall. Nothing changes on this front. Let's try if we are able to browse anything, because that is going to be the part of the next lab. And technically, it shouldn't work because we have not configured the rest of the parameters. So in the next section, I'm going to cover that. So parameters configuration so that you can access the internet and control as per your need. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next section.